UFC 315 this weekend. We're back in Canada and we've got Bilal Muhammad versus Della Maddalena for the welterweight belt. I'm going to give you my quick picks, and then if you stick around at the end, I'll show you what bet I'm looking to put on. We didn't do that good on the weekend just gone. I don't think anyone did, to be honest. But yeah, let's get straight into this card. So, scrolling down for the first fight. First fight, we've got Daniel Santos versus Zhang Yong Lee. Daniel Santos was supposed to fight David Grant a few weeks ago. Ended up pulling out like just before he weighed in. Don't know if it was a bad weight cut. I'm guessing it might have been now that he's fighting at featherweight against Zhang Yong Lee. He's been out a while, Daniel Santos. His last fight was in 2023, so almost 2 years ago now it was to the date. And Zhang Yong Lee is coming off a loss 9 months ago against Hyder Amil. But you got to remember, Zhang Yong Lee, he's the featherweight. Daniel Santos stepping up in weight now from bantamweight. And he's coming up against a good fighter in Zhang Yong Lee. He lost his last fight against Amil, but Amil's been doing alright in his fights as well. If we have a quick look at his record. Yeah, he's coming off a win over William Gomez. And it was a split decision, but he was doing well in that fight, wasn't he, Hyder Amil? And he's had some other good wins. He's looking like a decent prospect. So you can't knock Zhang Yong Lee for that fight. And I think he was holding his own in that fight as well. He had his moments. Daniel Santos, he's been very inactive. Coming off a win over Johnny Munoz Jr. And then before that, John Castaneda. He did have a loss against Julio Arce though. Julio Arce, who give him trouble on the feet. And I think Zhang Yong Lee can do the same. I think he can give Daniel Santos trouble on the feet, and he's also got decent grappling, Zhang Yong Lee. So for this fight, I'm not sure of the odds yet, because I've not even looked at the odds. They usually come up here, but I guess they're not up yet. But we'll have a look at the end at the odds anyway. But I'm leaning towards Zhang Yong Lee early. I think he's the better, well-rounded fighter, probably the naturally bigger guy. And Daniel Santos is coming off a long layoff, so I think that could definitely affect him as well. In the next fight, we've got Modestas Bukauskas versus Ion Cutelaba. Modestas Bukauskas is coming in off a decent win in his last fight against Rafael Kakura. Really solid finish on that one against the guy who was 11-1 at the time, had a bit of hype behind him. And then a good submission win before that against Marcin Pratnio. He's a decent fighter, Bukauskas, well-rounded everywhere, good striking, good enough grappling. And Ion Cutelaba is coming off a really good win over Ibu Aslan, but he kind of fraud-checked Ibu Aslan in that fight. Ibu Aslan, very strong striker, but has nothing on the ground. And we've seen that against Ion Cutelaba, whereas Bukauskas has definitely got a better ground game than Ibu Aslan. Training with Tom Aspinall at the minute as well. You know he's having a decent camp though with some big guys. I think Modestas Bukauskas is going to have the game to beat Ion Cutelaba. I feel like if Ion Cutelaba does get Bukauskas down, Bukauskas is going to be attacking off the bottom, threatening enough, and I think he'll be able to work his way back to the feet. And I think on the feet, he's levels above Ion Cutelaba. Don't get me wrong, Cutelaba's still got power, but Bukauskas, for me, is the better fighter all the way around. And I think it's pretty even, the odds on this fight. It's saying Modestas Bukauskas is a slight underdog here. But we'll have a look at the odds at the end. But yeah, I'm feeling like I'm pretty confident in Bukauskas getting the win here over Cutelaba. In the next fight, we've got Navajo Sterling versus Ivan Erslan. Navajo Sterling, decent striker coming in from that City Kickboxing camp. 6-0 so far, and he's quite a big favourite in this fight against Erslan. I do think Navajo Sterling's got the skills to beat Erslan, but I'm not sure if we'll put it on at those odds. So we'll have a look at the end, and we'll see if it's worth it. But I think Navajo Sterling should beat Ivan Erslan. I think he's definitely the better striker, and it's whether Ivan Erslan can implement his grappling to Navajo Sterling. But when you're coming into the fights and everyone knows you're a decent striker, you know he's working on that grappling and defence in the back. And I just think, yeah, Navajo Sterling should be able to get this one done. Next fight, we've got Jessica Andrade versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. I think Jasmine, should win this fight, but you never know with Andrade because she carries that power. You seen what she did to Rose Namajunas when she slammed her on her head, and I think there's always a possibility in the Jessica Andrade fight because not all women have that kind of power and explosivity. that she can win even when she's outmatched. I do feel like Jasmine is probably the better fighter at the minute, and she should get the win. She's coming off a win this year against Buena Silva, which is, it's alright, isn't it? It's an alright win. It's nothing special. You would say Andrade definitely fought the better competition, but this is the step up now where I feel like Jasmine, she needs this win to carry on going, pushing herself towards that title. Andrade, she's kind of been there and done it. What's the motivation for her now? Because I can't really see her winning the title. She's kind of like a gatekeeper for that, the top level in that division for the women. And I feel like Jasmine's got the skills, well-rounded enough to do it. But I'm not sure if we'll be putting it on, because I feel like Andrade, she's always got that X factor, that power, what not all the women have, and she can definitely cause an upset here. Next fight, you've got Mike Malott versus Charles Ratke. Mike Malott got kind of derailed. The fight before last against Neil Magny kind of got exposed a little bit, but he's still a really good prospect. It was always going to be a tough fight against Neil Magny because that was a step up in competition for him, and he's still quite green because he just managed, even though he's had quite a few fights now, a lot of them have been early finishes in the first round, so he's not had that cage time in the later rounds when the going gets tough. But I do think he's capable. It's all experience. That loss against Neil Magny, it's invaluable experience for him, and I think it'll do him well for the future. I can see him being up there and challenging if he can get comfortable in those later rounds. And I feel like Charles Ratke is not out of the question here. He's definitely got the capability to win. He's got power as well, and he's had a few wins by KO. Just beat Semmelsberger by KO last year. I feel like he's definitely got opportunity to win, but I can't see past Mike Malott in this one. I think he gets the job done here. Next fight, we've got Marc-Andre Barriault versus Bruno Silva. Tough one to predict this. Bruno Silva, he's only won one of his last 5, but he's fought some absolute killers. Let's just have a look at Bruno Silva's last few fights before we get into it. So even before his last win, he had Alex Pereira, Gerald Meerschaert, who's decent, Brad Tavares, he managed to get a win though, which is not a terrible win, is it? Brad Tavares is still doing alright. Brendan Allen, another killer. Sharon Magomedov, another killer on the feet. Chris Weidman, and then Norodiev. That is like as tough as you're going to get, really. That's, yeah, as tough as you're going to get in the division there, compared to Marc-Andre Barriault, who's coming off 3 losses of his own, but not towards the level of competition. He has fought some here and there in between, like Anthony Hernandez and Joe Pyfer and Dustin Stolfuse. He's been doing alright lately, but still not to the level of the guys Bruno Silva's been fighting. That's why I think it's pretty hard to predict, and you could look at Bruno Silva here getting the win. I would say I think it's definitely a winnable fight for both of them. So true 50-50, I would say this one. I'll probably leave it off because I'm not confident in either of them getting the win. But I do feel like Barriault has not fought as good he has fought as good a competition, but Bruno Silva's fought kill death row on it. So tough one to predict that. I'll probably leave that one off, to be honest. Next fight, you've got Brad Katona versus Bekzat Almakhan. Tough debut for Bekzat Almakhan. He lost a decision to Umar Nurmagomedov. He got dominated in that fight, didn't he? And now he's coming up against Brad Katona. And I think like Brad Katona's pretty underrated at bantamweight. He's a decent fighter. He's beat some good level competition. All the way back when he was on The Ultimate Fighter and he beat Bryce Mitchell by submission. I know that was a long time ago, but he's been there and he's done it, Brad Katona. When he does lose, he doesn't get dominated. This fight against G Matsumoto didn't get dominated. He had his moments, and then the Garrett Armfield fight he could have won that fight as well. And he's had some alright wins in between. He's never fought the upper echelon of the division like Bekzat Almakhan had to do when he come in on his debut. But I feel like Brad Katona is good enough to get the win here. It's just how good is Bekzat. It's hard to tell, isn't it, when he's coming in fighting Umar Nurmagomedov. We can't really judge him off that performance, but I'd like to watch him again before I think about putting any bets on him or anything like that. against the UFC caliber. So I'll probably stay away from this fight. Brad Katona though, he is a slight underdog, so maybe it'll be interesting to see. If I wanted to take any risks or put like an underdog bet on, I'd definitely be keeping my eye on Brad Katona. Moving on to the main card, we've got the legend Jose Aldo versus Ayman Zahabi. Jose Aldo is getting on now, but so is Ayman Zahabi. I think he's only a year younger, but then again, Jose Aldo's been in a lot more wars than Zahabi has. A lot more fights, I should say. Because some of them weren't wars, they were dominations for Aldo back in the day. But Jose Aldo, what a guy, man. I think he gets this done against Zahabi. He's still there, Jose Aldo. He's had a few losses, but once again, he's not been dominated. Split decision against Mario Bautista, who could be up there challenging for the title soon after a couple more fights. Win over Jonathan Martinez, who's decent. Lost to the champ, Merab, and we all say in that fight, he had to just hold him there, didn't he, Merab, to neutralise Jose Aldo because he didn't want none of the striking. And then a win over Rob Font and Pedro Munoz before that. Jose Aldo's still got it. I'd love it if he could mount another title run and get that bantamweight belt. Imagine that, the scenes, retire the true GOAT of the lower divisions anyway. Jose Aldo is a legend, isn't he? I can't see past him in this one. I think Ayman Zahabi, he's smart and he'll come in with a good game plan, but it's whether he can utilise against Aldo, because Merab couldn't get Aldo down, and I can't see Zahabi getting Aldo down and holding him there anyway. And I think Jose Aldo's definitely got the better striking. Well, he's a good technical striker, Zahabi, but he doesn't carry that power like how Aldo does. He's more of a technician, isn't he, Zahabi? And I don't think Aldo's lacking in the technique either. He's just got that extra power with him. So I'm going to side with Jose Aldo in this fight. It's showing on Tapology that he's a slight favourite, but we'll have a look at the odds at the end, because I don't think they're always accurate, these Tapology odds. Next fight, we've got Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. Another tricky one to predict. Natalia Silva, she's moving her way up now, up the rankings. Win over Jessica Andrade in her last fight. Viviana Araújo before that. Andrea Lee. It's like she's really working her way up nice. Not like she's taking any massive jumps in competition. This is the biggest test that she's faced yet against Alexa Grasso, former champion. Coming off a loss over Valentina Shevchenko and a draw before that. And then a win before that as well. So yeah, decent Alexa Grasso. Big step up in competition with Natalia Silva. It's tough to say where the fight's going, isn't it? You'd lean Natalia Silva. That's what Tapology predictions. Oh no, the Tapology predictions are actually going Grasso slightly. Yeah. Oh, and she's a minus 200 favourite, Natalia Silva, apparently, off Tapology. So yeah, you could be looking at Alexa Grasso for an underdog pick. I'm not mad at that. But I'll have a look what the odds are saying, and maybe I'll leave it off. Next fight, we've got Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot. Massive experience advantage for Valentina Shevchenko against Manon. And I think Shevchenko is definitely the better well-rounded fighter. We've not seen much of Manon on the ground, because she just managed to finish it on the feet. She's using a size advantage most of the time. But I feel like Valentina, she's got the experience, especially when it comes to the championship rounds. If I remember rightly, Manon Fiorot's last fight against Erin Blanchfield, or it might have been the Rose Namajunas fight, she starts showing that she does get tired in the later rounds, and Shevchenko does as well. But I feel like Shevchenko might be able to mix it up and take the fight into a different direction, and mixing the striking as well with that. I am siding with Valentina on this fight. I think she gets the job done against Manon. Even though she's not out of it, Manon, she could definitely get the win if she can neutralise Shevchenko, stop the sit-downs and then outpoint her on the feet. But I think there's more ways that Valentina can win this fight than Manon. And then we've got the main event. It's Belal Muhammad versus Della Maddalena. As much as I'd like to see Belal Muhammad lose, I think he's just a bit of an arrogant prick, innit? But I can't see him losing to Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Maddalena, he's good and he's definitely dangerous, but a split decision over Kevin Holland and a split decision over Basil Hafez, and I think that was his debut. Bilal Muhammad's levels above these guys, and if he's barely beating these guys, I can't see him getting a win over Bilal Muhammad. Bilal Muhammad is tough, isn't he? As much as we love to hate him, he is a skilled fighter, like the Sean Brady win, and you've seen how good Sean Brady is after that Leon Edwards fight. I think he's good, Bilal Muhammad, and I can see that fight happening with him and Islam Makhachev, and I think Islam Makhachev will beat Bilal. That's why they want it, I reckon, Habib's team. But yeah, as much as I'd like to see Jack Della Maddalena win, I just think Bilal Muhammad's a bit too good for him. His striking's decent, it's underrated. We've seen that in the fight before Leon, who did he fight now? In the Gilbert Burns fight, it's only Gilbert Burns, and the Sean Brady fight, we've seen his hands as well. Yeah, I think he's decent, Bilal Muhammad, and I can't see him losing to Jack Della Maddalena. And like I say, as much as I'd like to, I think he just gets the job done. So let's have a little look at the odds, and then we'll see what bet we're looking to put on the weekend. So Andrade versus Jasmine. She's quite a big favourite, Jasmine, and I think Andrade, like I was saying, she's always got that possibility that she could catch anyone in the women's division with that explosivity. So I think we'll leave that one off. You got the Barriel versus Bruno Silva. We're saying that fight's pretty unpredictable. Kind of a 50-50, and it's reflected in the odds. Even though Bruno Silva's a slight underdog, you could look to go there, but we'll leave it off for now. Bukauskas versus Ian Kusalaba. I'm confident Bukauskas gets the win here, and it's about evens, isn't it, on here? That's what I thought, but we'll put that on. Brad Katona versus Bezkat Almacan. Almacan is a slight favourite. You could look at Brad Katona as an underdog. I feel like he's got the experience in that upper echelon where he's fighting the better competition, so I definitely think he could get the win here, Brad Katona, but we'll leave it off for now because we're unsure about Bezkat. It's hard to tell off his debut when he's fighting Umar Nurmagomedov how good he actually is. Next fight, Mike Malott versus Charles Ratke. He's quite a big favourite, Mike Malott, and there's always the case where he gets beat again like he did against Neil Magny if he gasses out. So I'm not super confident in Mike Malott. We'll leave that off for now. Daniel Santos versus Jong Yong Lee. I'm going to put Jong Yong Lee on as an underdog here. Don't get me wrong, I feel like Daniel Santos could get the win, but I'm happy with Jong Yong Lee. He's fought featherweight for most of his career, I'm guessing, and Daniel Santos is moving up from bantamweight. Lee's got good striking and he's got decent grappling. Unless Daniel Santos sparks him out, which is a possibility because Yong Lee got knocked out in his last fight. But I'm just going to side with Yong Lee. I think he can get the job done. Next fight, you've got Navajo Sterling versus Ivan Arslan. He's quite a big favourite, Navajo Sterling, but I'm going to put him on, I think. We'll take the risk on him. I feel like he's got the highest ceiling and he gets the job done against Arslan. Next fight, Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. Alexa Grasso's quite a big underdog, isn't she? You could definitely look at putting Alexa Grasso on. I'm just not confident. Most of these women fights, it's hard to predict, isn't it? Sometimes the unthinkable can happen in them. And I'm unsure about that. It's 50-50. If I had to lean anywhere, I'd go Grasso, wouldn't I? But we'll leave it off because I'm not sure. Next fight, Jose Aldo. That's an easy pick for me. I do think Ayman Zahab is definitely capable of winning. So it's not like I'm ruling him out completely. But I'm siding with Aldo on that one. Then we've got Shevchenko versus Fiorot. Another one where I could see Fiorot winning, but I'm going to pick Valentina Shevchenko. I think she gets it done. She's got too much championship experience in MMA for Fiorot. And then Bilal Muhammad, quite a big favourite, isn't he, against Jack Della Maddalena. Let's see what it is without. So a tenner without gets 187 back, or a tenner with gets 260 back. And I just think Bilal Muhammad gets the job done against Jack Della Maddalena. I think he's too good. But if Jack Della Maddalena wins, fair play to him, I'll be happy anyway. So I'll leave that on. And how many fights have we got here then? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got Bukaskas to win, John Gong Lee to win, Sterling, Aldo, Shevchenko, and Bilal Muhammad. And a tenner on that gets you 265 quid back. I'll probably put this on later on in the week. I'm not going to put it on just yet. So we could get slightly less or slightly more depending on the odd movement. But yeah, let us know what you're putting on and your takes. No one ever comments. I want people to comment and let me know. And we can have discussions about it, because you might sway me one way or the other as well. You might help me out. But yeah, if you're still here and you like this video, subscribe and give it a like and help push the channel a little bit. And I appreciate it. And good luck on the weekend, and I'll see you next time.